Hey guys, it's the Forester here. I got my rock sliders done and I wanted to show you guys my design. So it wasn't too hard. I did it with basic power tools and it cost me about $300 for everything, which I know you can get some, but I wanted to make my own. So if you guys want to make your own, you can follow this video. So first thing I did, obviously, was take everything off down there. There's like a plastic piece that covers it, and I cleaned it all up a little bit, bent my pinch weld back in so it was flat, and touched up any rust that was there, try to keep that all from rusting. And then I ordered my aluminum. Now this is my aluminum. I bought a piece like this. It was 3 inches on one leg, 4 inches on another, 1/4 inch thick, 6061 aluminum, and I got it 6 feet long. Now it's actually 68 inches long whenever I cut it down, but I made it long because it was easier to buy it that way, and it was easier when I had a little bit of room for error if I cut something wrong. So first thing I did was I popped out all the old plastic pieces and put in rib nuts. So those were just plastic pieces that held in the plastic piece of trim that goes here. That's a factory hole with a welded nut in it, and then added other rib nuts. And I did the same thing on the bottom side too. You'll see whenever you take everything off, it's really not too difficult. But those are really nice. I definitely recommend getting that and doing that, because otherwise you only have 3 holes on top and 3 holes on bottom, which is probably fine, but I go overkill. But that's the first step you'll do, is get everything ready that you can bolt your piece on. And then you'll take your piece and cut it down to about the length you need and cut off this top edge. Is one of the things I had to do. I used this saw blade. It's an aluminum saw blade specifically to cut this kind of stuff, and it worked great. It cut through it like it was just some tough wood. It wasn't hard, and I used a cheap $30 saw, so anybody can do it with any saw they've got. And the reason I cut that down was because if you look on the side here, there's a little bend that goes that way, and if this was a 1/2 inch taller, there'd be a lip that all that dirt and mud could sit in, and that could eventually start rusting things away. So I wanted to avoid that. You still see a little strip of green here, which you could paint if you want, but I wasn't worried about it. It's going to get beat up. So if you want to leave that 1/2 inch on, you can save a little bit of money, but I wanted to do it this way. Then the next thing I did was I got 2 jacks, one on each side, so it was easier to hold. And I located the first hole with a little bit of excess aluminum here, bolted that one on, did the same on the other side, a little bit of excess hanging out, and made sure everything looked real nice, made sure everything was fitting nice. And then I lowered it down, marked the locations of all the other mounting points I wanted, and then I measured down from the line that I made going across here to get my up and down measurement. So once I did that, drilled all the holes out, got everything working good. And I also added some weep holes for water, because it angles back just a little bit, so that water has somewhere to go, so it's not sitting in the aluminum and causing corrosion and all kinds of bad stuff. And then I cut down the ends so that way they were flush. I'm hammering all this stuff flush because I'm making some fender armor here, so that's unfinished. Sorry, it looks terrible. Then on the back side, I did the same thing. I just made my marks and kind of followed the factory lip here, so that way I can maybe put some over to cover that or whatever, but it gives quite a bit of tire clearance. These are 28.5 inch 225 by 75 R15, so you got quite a bit of room doing that. And then the other thing I had to do was locate the bottom holes, which is a little tougher but not too hard. And there's one bolt there, and then there's another bolt in the front. I didn't put too many on the bottom just in case something grabs it. I don't want it to rip it off. Then all I really did was get it all sanded down, prepped it, made it look nice, painted it with some self-etching primer. You definitely want to use some self-etching primer for aluminum. It bonds differently. And then I put truck bed liner on it. That's just what I paint everything with, if you haven't noticed. So it wasn't too hard. It cost about $300. The aluminum was about $200. The saw blade was about $34. And then the bolts I used, it cost about $20 or so. And this is what I use for everything. These are on the bottom, these are on the top or the face of it, and so are these. And these are the rib nuts I use. Those are the thread pitches and the length. So we got all that. So that's the aluminum that I bought. And the only special tools I needed were this Diablo blade to cut that top piece, which isn't necessary, but I think it helps, and a rib nut tool. So I think it looks pretty good. I'm happy with it. It's not the best looking thing, but it's definitely going to hold up better than the pinch weld. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Thank you.